Well, I'm a psychologist by profession, so when I think about process safety, I look at the process safety model that was initially developed almost 30 years ago now, and as most people know, process safety was developed in 12 months after the Bhopal tragedy. So in more recent years, they've added extra elements to the process safety model. When we look at those extra elements are all people-based elements. So my own view is, whilst engineering is critical in ensuring good process safety, we need to increase the focus on the people-based elements to ensure that we have an integrated approach to safety. And we also need to be sure that we do not see process safety alone as the saviour of all things in regard to accidents. Personal safety is still very important. The understanding of human factors is critical. In regards to fatalities in workplaces, India is up amongst the top tier of countries that are killing people in workplaces. And then if we consider occupational disease and illness, the numbers are horrific. So I am hopeful this conference, particularly focusing on the question of safety culture, of which I spend much of my time working, will act as a lighthouse event to focus the country on the importance of developing safety culture amongst workplaces. Health and safety, particularly in South Asia, there is a long way to go. But as they say in South Africa, how do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. So we need to just focus on an area and invest heavily and create what I call a positive virus. And what that means is that we find an area we really make and help to become optimally safe, and the rest of the community starts thinking, we want to be like that. When that happens, then India and other South Asian countries can really improve their safety performance. A number of companies have approached me to assist them develop their internal safety cultures in their workplaces. And whilst they recognise the value, the factor which leads to the project not continuing is that word cost. So for this to be achieved, what needs to happen, and I know it's extremely difficult, is that instead of thinking in terms of the rupee, we need to think in terms of the value. What value are we gaining? Because if India starts looking at using international resources who may invoice in the euro or the pound or the US dollar, when you convert that to rupees, it's a big number. So companies then really get scared by that big number, when in actual fact what we need to focus upon is what is the value that's being provided by that service. And in most cases, the value actually exceeds the size of that number. It's a common issue in India, it's a common issue in South Africa. They also confront the same dilemma because of the exchange rate of the South African rand. Indonesia is even worse in terms of their exchange rate. So there are some companies in India who certainly see themselves as being international players, and they think in terms of US dollars. So a fee of 100,000 US dollars does not scare them. But I can't even calculate how much money that is in rupees. It's a lot. So that does scare a lot of organisations. And organisations which are just beginning to grow, they do have to focus upon their cost. So I can understand that. So that's a dilemma that we will need to confront over time. Do I have a solution? I'm afraid I don't. But I certainly do believe that we need to encourage companies to focus on the word value. Value, value, value. I would have to say I am absolutely impressed. The level of organisation, the structure is exceptional, the number of delegates who are attending, and when you look at the faculty who have been brought together to speak at the event, I am humbled to be amongst that group. I'm looking forward to these 2 days, and the key element will be that we'll all have a great time and we will learn a lot from each other, but what is most important is at the end of the conference, what people learn, they then are able to take back to their businesses and implement. And that's the critical bit, not just 2 days, but these 2 days be the springboard to something really fantastic happening throughout India and South Asia. I think there's already discussions to replicate the event in a couple of years, and I think that's probably a good time frame. Conferences which occur every year sometimes become a little bit too common, but every 2 years, every 3 years, people come together. It's a significant investment, and they can then talk about what they've learned here in 2 or 3 years' time. So I'm certainly hopeful that FIRST is just the first of many.